Things are getting more and more intense in this world. It is so important that we know how to protect our consciousness and energy by connecting with our infinite self. Hi, I'm Saratoga Ocean, and I work together with an interdimensional, interuniversal, and extraterrestrial force known as Telstar, and I also work with Archangel Michael. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can connect directly with your infinite self in a way that you can experience it throughout your physical body. And this is so important in order to protect your energy in this crazy world that we're all living in. It will also help you to feel like you're staying sane and that you are really strong as you can possibly feel in spite of everything going on. One of the main reasons that I want to talk about this today is because I think that so often with everything going on in this world and coming from these controllers, I think so often we can feel like we just don't know if we have the strength to go through this and to navigate all of these events with clarity and with power and with certainty. So I'm going to show you how you can connect with your infinite self, not just connect with it, but actually become it. And that is very different than only meditating to get in touch with it. You see, we want to go beyond just getting in touch with our infinite self. We actually want to begin a journey of becoming that self and manifesting the power and strength and intelligence of that infinite self, which is who we really are, in our lives and in this world. So you want to start by how you position yourself. Think about, how am I going to position myself in order to connect with and therefore become the infinite being that I truly am on this planet? Well, you want to start from your center within. You want to think of that infinite energy that is the real you as starting from the inside and moving outward. This is the self that animates your entire body and your unique expression. It represents the origin of your divine personality. This is the self that never ever dies. So you want to look at it this way. The infinite self is not physical. However, it does express through the physical body. That is exactly what is meant to happen. And this is the self that the ego fights against in order to prevent its expression. And that's because the ego wants to be the animating force in your life. It wants to be the animating force in your mind. And the ego is very finite and very limited. So what we want to do in knowing that is to strengthen and empower our infinite self and who we really are, which is actually a transmutational power. It is a transmutational energy of light. We want to strengthen and activate that power of who we really are in such a way that it actually and beautifully transmutes many of the limitations that the ego places upon us. Think how wonderful that would be, right? Now, we know that the infinite self begins, or I should say the origin of your infinite self begins at the very center of your being. And if you take a moment and pause and just try to feel the energy of that center, you will feel it as a center from which and energy radiates out in all directions. Now, after you do that, the next thing you want to do, because we want to begin to have a visceral, physically real experience of this infinite self. We don't want it to just be something that we only experience when in meditation. And we also don't want it to just remain an abstract concept, right? So there's a really simple way to do this. All you have to do is think for a moment about the fact that it is your infinite self that literally animates your entire body. I mean, think about the fact that you can stand up straight and not fall over, that you can raise your arm and still not fall over, that you can move around and stay upright without giving it a single thought. It sounds amazing when you really start to think about it. But here is another contrast with that profound miracle that we are, that miracle of life that we are, that I want to invite you to consider. If your infinite self ceases to occupy your physical body, you're still going to have the same brain, the same nervous system, all of the parts within you that we are told make it possible for us to stand up and not fall over. Yet, there is nothing in the world that's going to make you stand up or make your body stand up on its own. So this sounds very simple, but it's incredibly profound. So this goes beyond meditation. This is an opportunity where you can take the time to just simply stand or sit or lift your arm or anything at all and realize there is an animating force that expresses through your physical body at all times that you are awake. And that is the energy of your infinite self. That is the energy of who you really are. And when you really start to get that, it's amazing. Now, the other thing is that it is your infinite self that is experiencing life on earth through your 5 physical senses. Through your eyes, listening through your ears, feeling through the sense of touch. But I want you to focus on the fact that it is the infinite self that experiences life through your eyes, because who's looking out from your eyes? It's not the ego. It's you. It's the real you. And the more that you explore these simple things, the more it's going to blow you away what you've been missing. And what we've all been missing, and the reason we've been missing it is primarily because of the ego, the talking voice in the head that has us completely distracted from the visceral experience of the fact that we are infinite beings who are experiencing and animating these physical bodies in the most graceful, amazingly beautiful way. Now, the ego will tell us that, or it will say, you are your body. Your body is who you are. This is who you are. And that's when we start getting really stiff and really kind of, and really just not real animated anymore, right? Not real expressive anymore. Because the ego wants us to think that we are the body. Do you know why? Because the ego wants to control the body. It doesn't want you, the infinite being, expressing through your physical body. It wants to block you so that it can control your body instead of you expressing through your body. And that really represents sort of an inner battle that human beings on this planet tend to suffer from. We're like, we want the freedom of expression, but at the same time, we feel so blocked. We feel so restrained. We feel so repressed. And all of that is the ego. It's the ego fighting against who you really are so that it can maintain complete and total control of your existence on this earth. So what this might involve for each one of us, if we really want to get into this, is a literal paradigm shift in our perspective of who we believe ourselves to be. And that starts with recognizing that you are not your body. Your body is a vehicle perfectly and beautifully designed through which your infinite self can express. And what's so interesting is that it's your entire system of chakras and your central breath that anchors your infinite self in your body. That anchors your infinite self onto this earthly planetary sphere. It's a beautiful manifestation of nature in the cosmos. So basically, as I was saying, we want to start by connecting with our infinite self, becoming aware of it. It actually starts with awareness. We want to take it beyond only meditating within and become aware of the feeling, the visceral feeling of who we are as infinite beings expressing through our bodies. And I recommend doing this in the most, as I said earlier, really simple ways. Experiment with this, explore it, pay attention to movement just by yourself. Just notice the miracle of just moving your body any way at all. Lifting your arm, walking, standing, moving your head, anything at all, and get in touch with the miracle that really is. What a miracle it is that your infinite, divine, interdimensional, multidimensional self is literally manifesting in this finite physical world. You can explore this for a long time if you want to, and you're going to be amazed at how profound you really are. Okay, so that's the first thing that we want to focus on. The first thing is to become consciously aware of our infinite selves and aware of the experience of that self expressing through our physical bodies. Now, the next thing you want to do is get in touch with the energy of this self, the actual energy of how it is manifesting through your physical body. And a good way to begin doing this is to check in with your emotional state, because your emotional state is going to tell you a lot about the condition of your energy and of your vibration at any given time. And it's really so amazing how beautifully obvious and balanced the knowledge of this really is. For example, a more negative emotional state reflects a lower vibration. It's heavier, it's more dense. And it's also interesting because the language that we use to express that lower vibration is very interesting. We might say things like, oh, I feel so low, or oh, life is so heavy, or I'm just bored. Or how often do we say things like, oh, I'm so down today? Isn't it interesting how the words literally reflect the state of our energy and its vibration? Now, on the other hand, when our vibration is high, we use language that also reflects exactly that. We say things like, I feel so light. I'm so happy. I feel inspired. And then there's that really interesting phrase when somebody's really at an extremely high vibration. They might say things like, I'm just walking on air. Isn't that crazy how we just naturally reflect in our language the level of our vibrational frequency? So we could go from, I'm so light, I feel like I'm walking on air, to, oh, I'm so heavy. I'm so down today. Life is just so hard. That's another thing. Hard. Think about hard. Hardness is density, right? It's arduous to move through density. So pay attention to the words that you're using, not necessarily just in speaking to other people, but also in how you're speaking to yourself. And notice how much those words reflect the condition of your energy and the vibrational state of your energy. Now, another way you can assess the condition of your energy and your vibration is to look at your own body language. This is so fascinating, you guys, when you really start to think about this stuff. So, for example, if your vibration is very low, you're probably going to be frowning, right? You're probably going to be looking down. Your shoulders are probably going to be slumped. Overall, you might feel like you just don't want to do anything. You don't want to move. You just want to sit there and not do anything. That would be like a really low vibration. Now, I'm not talking about being tired. Okay, that's a different thing if you're physically tired. I'm talking about things like, feeling depressed, feeling so much anxiety that you can't move because you're just in a state of paralysis. All of these things indicate a low vibration. It's not that it's bad. It's not that something else is good. What we're talking about is observing from a non-judgmental place so that you become really adept at assessing your own energy, which then gives you much greater command over your energy. See, because when you take the judgment out of it, such as, oh, my vibration is so low, I must be doing something wrong. I wonder what's wrong with me, or I must be a bad person, or I'm just a failure. See, that is just more the same language, right? So here's another interesting thing that just occurred to me about that. We tend to say to ourselves, when we feel down, when we feel low, we tend to actually say to ourselves, this is wrong. There's something wrong with me. What if we take the word wrong aside for a moment and don't look at that word as a judgment on us? Instead, we look at it from a place of clarity. Why would we say it's wrong, right? Here's why. This is all subconscious. It's because we know instinctually that it's wrong because it's not in alignment with who we really are. It's not in alignment with the light that we really are. So wrong has a bit of a different definition when you're really just noticing the words you use naturally without even thinking about it in a way that you can assess your vibration and assess your energy without judgment. We don't need judgment. The kind of judgment I'm talking about is the ego. Once again, the ego. See, I think I'm talking about this a lot because I know a lot of people feel discouraged and depressed about what's happening in the world, and that is very understandable. But we're talking about shifting to a completely different place in this exercise that I'm sharing with you, which is to get in touch with our power and our strength. So in order to do that, we don't need the ego judging us, right? We don't need the ego saying, you're bad, you're terrible, you're wrong, you're a bad person, you messed up. We don't need that because all of that is irrelevant. Now, let's talk about a high vibration. Look at your body language when you have a high vibration. You probably find that your head is lifted, your smile is upturned, your shoulders are down, you're looking out at the world. What does that mean? Well, what it means is that your infinite self is radiating its energy out through your body even more so. right? When it's a low vibration, that energy isn't radiating so much. It's kind of down. It's kind of at a low, just a low energy, right? So high vibration, you're expressive, you're open, there's a lot of energy, there's happiness, there's smiling, there's contentment, there's all those wonderful things. And when it's a low vibration, your energy's repressed, you don't have enough energy, you feel tired, you feel bored, you feel depressed, you feel sad. See how simple that is? And then, of course, there's everything in between, which we don't have to go into because I guarantee you can figure that out for yourself, right? So overall, you can just pay attention to how your energy feels. So just a quick recap, what we've talked about so far is expanding your consciousness from your inner core and outwards throughout your entire body. We've talked about awareness of your infinite self and the fact that it expresses in a radiating flow throughout your entire body. And the more that you become aware of your own energy, the more easily you will be able to calibrate your own vibration. So now let's go deeper into the subject of vibration. You can think of your vibration as being like a frequency of energy. Whatever frequency you are attuned to is going to determine what you experience. Now, my favorite way to explain this is to use a radio as an example. So with a radio, you have a dial. I'm talking about an old-fashioned radio now because that's the best kind, actually. Anyway, you have a dial that can tune to the frequency of various stations, right? Now, the controllers of this planet want to keep us tuned to a station of constant chaos, fear, and static energy. That's why they pummel us 24/7 with all of this horribleness that we are constantly exposed to. They want to keep us locked into their station, to their frequency, in order to prevent our ascension. So what we want to do is we want to acquire a level of observation that takes us out of their vibrational realm, yet gives us the clarity we need to not be caught in the traps that they set for us. That gives us the clarity we need to not be controlled by them. And the best way to do this is to observe them from what I call an extraterrestrial perspective. Now, that doesn't mean to look at them like you're an ET or something like that. It really just means to step back from the planet Earth in your mind and observe them from a cosmic perspective. Observe them from a high vibrational perspective. That doesn't mean that you say what they're doing is good or positive. It just means that you observe them with clarity. We need to be able to observe with clarity because we are living in the midst of all of their chaos, and we need to be able to navigate through that chaos as best we can without being harmed. So we want to be able to have the clarity, but we want to do that without getting trapped in their vibrational frequency. And we can do that. And that's what makes it all so much easier to deal with. So the way to protect your energy is to observe the circumstances on this planet from an extraterrestrial perspective without immersing yourself in the energy of those circumstances. So if we go back to the example of the radio with the different stations, using that analogy, you want to attune to a frequency of a higher vibration. You want to attune yourself to a higher frequency that is more coherent with your infinite self. And that would be a frequency of love, of light, of happiness, and of magical possibilities. So if you are anchored and tuned into that frequency of energy, you can still observe the other station, the low vibrational frequency of the controller's station. You can be aware of it without having to tune your energy to it. You see how that works? And that is the best way to protect your energy while at the same time maintaining a very important level of clarity about exactly what is going on and what it is that you will need to navigate through. And the reason that this is so powerful is because it's transcendent in nature instead of being defensive in nature. So putting all of that together, let's say now you've managed to tune into that higher frequency of light, of love, and of magicalness. And let's say that you've been able to raise your vibration to the highest possible frequency for wherever you are in the moment. What do you want to do next? Because now you're in a position to increase your power and your strength. So let's talk about how to do that. Let's say you now have a high vibrational energy. You want to increase the power of that energy. You don't want to just let it sit where it is. You want to contemplate increasing its power. This means to increase the amplitude or the strength of your vibration by anchoring your consciousness to a positive vision. Now, let me share another little tidbit of info about the ego when it comes to increasing the amplitude of energy. The ego loves, loves, loves to help you increase the amplitude of a low vibrational frequency of energy. I guess if we were to put it in a word, we could call it pessimism. It likes to make you very, very pessimistic about everything. So the ego basically loves to increase the amplitude of your energy when it's at a low vibration. It does so by telling you all of the reasons why things are going to turn out so badly for you. You know, the ego is actually like a very bad radio station playing in your head. So what do you do if you find that your mind is locked in to that really bad radio station, that low frequency station of the ego? What do you do about that? What you want to do is you want to first recognize it for what it is, and then you want to tune your mind and tune your consciousness to a different station, to a different frequency. And a great way to begin to shift to a different frequency, to a different station, is with the simple act of gratitude. Because sometimes it's not that easy to just go from the bad radio station in your head to something higher and better. Sometimes it's a bit of a process, right? So you can begin that process with gratitude. And I'm sure that you all know what this means and how you can do this, but let me give you a few little ways. You can write down every morning 5 things that you're grateful for in your life. You can do that at night before you go to sleep. Or if you want to do it now in the moment, just pause, stop what you're doing, and look around, even in your environment, your immediate environment, and look for things that you can feel grateful for. That's how you can begin to dislodge your consciousness in your mind from that bad radio station that's always playing horrible music, right? Now, another way to shift out of that frequency and into a higher frequency is through the use of affirmations. You can write down positive affirmations. You can just talk to yourself differently. You can put a different voice in your head. Just change it into something different, something that's not so negative. Because when you recognize that this is just a voice in my head, that's all this is, then you can just change it because you have the power to do that. You have the power to change it to something life-affirming instead of life-negating. You have that power. We all have that power. And I think the place where we probably most fail is we just fail to use that power. So what I want to suggest is gratitude and affirmations, not in the sense of some, rote exercise, but more in the sense of changing the voice to something that's life-affirming instead of so negative. What you're doing as the creator that you are is you are literally, when you use the topic of affirmations, you're literally creating a different station to tune your consciousness into. You're literally creating a different station to tune your mind to. So affirmations are not necessarily just to try and force something good to happen in your life, because I think when people do that, a lot of times they say it doesn't work. The way I'm suggesting you use them here is from a very conscious place with the intention of increasing the amplitude of your positive vibrational energy by creating a different frequency in your mind than the negative frequency that the ego wants to create. See, isn't this cool? We have so much power as creators that we're not even tapping into. So that's why I wanted to share all of this with you guys, to give you something really substantial that you can do to empower yourself. Now, I want to give you one more way that you can add even more powerful energy to how your infinite self can integrate with your physical body. And this is a tip I'm going to share with you that was given to me years ago by Archangel Michael. And it's really, really amazing. And I think this last tip, if you want to call it, that I want to share with you is most effectively done in the environment that you create in your experience when you implement all of the things I've shared with you so far. So what Archangel Michael suggested was, he said, your self is love. You can imbue every single cell in your body with love. Every molecule, every atom, every cell. He said you can go to whatever level you want. But he said it's very important to be able to do this, to be able to infuse every cell of your body with love. Can you imagine how amazing that is? Because love is a transmutational force. Now, I want to share with you an incredible experience that I had of what this is like when you really master it. So this was a while back when I had been channeling Archangel Michael. And as you know, if you've been following me, I am a full body channel of the beings in Telstar and of Archangel Michael. So when I channel them, they fill my entire body with their presence. Okay? Now, I'm not conscious when that happens, but I come back afterwards, and then I have the feeling of their energy, having been there. So I want to share with you the most amazing experience I had one time. I came back after having channeled Archangel Michael. This was in an event that we did a while back. I can't even describe to you what that felt like. I remember laying down on a sofa, and it was like perfection in terms of the balance that I felt in every single cell in my entire body. It was absolute bliss. It was, I really can't explain it. And all I could say to I didn't want to move. I just wanted to stay there. I don't know how long I stayed there. But all I could say to myself was, this is how we're supposed to feel all the time. Isn't that incredible? And I'll never forget that. It was just one of those days, I guess, when everything just aligned so beautifully. And that experience was amazing. Now, I don't know how sustainable that is in the crazy world we live in, because there's so much we're being bombarded with all the time. But it gave me a taste, a physical, visceral taste of what I think he was talking about when he suggested that we infuse every cell in our bodies with love. And that's not the kind of love that we think about on planet Earth, where I love you because you're special, or you love me because I'm special, or not the kind of love that we talk about here. This is a love that is the absolute essence of who we are. So it's not like it's separate from us. It's not like, oh, well, there's us and then there's love, right? There is, unless you're talking about the ego, I guess there'd be the ego and then there'd be love. But basically, the infinite self that we are is love. So infusing every cell, every atom, every molecule in our physical bodies with love is a very, very powerful thing to explore. Now, there are also a lot of defensive techniques that you can use to protect your energy, such as putting a bubble of light around yourself, asking your angels to protect your energy. And those are all great if you feel a need for that. But what I'm sharing with you here today is a way to literally generate a powerful field of energy from within yourself. Now, everything I've shared with you today does take practice, and you will likely feel called to let go of old patterns and negative beliefs about yourself and to transmute those things in order to free up the power of your energy and your infinite self. And the beauty of this non-defensive way of protecting your energy is that it also promotes a powerful level of evolution. If you practice these things, you are going to be evolving at a much faster rate. And even better, you're going to be aligning yourself with your own ascension. And let me also add that it is wise to put yourself in the company of situations that are supportive and fortifying. And try to avoid situations that just drain you. Make your life a high vibrational experience to whatever degree you are able to. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it out with anyone else who you think would like to know how to strengthen themselves during these difficult times. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and hit that notification bell, because I am here every Tuesday with all new videos. And with that, I'm sending you so much love, light, and high vibrational energy. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Namaste.